technical hits there, folks. I do apologise for that. I forgot to press the go button.
We haven't had one of those before. That was a real first. Well done.
No, I didn't want to hit. I didn't want to hit it just in case he hit it at the same time and it went end stream.
Normally I'm quite streamlined with the introductions as well. Anyway, welcome everybody. It's Monday night and it's episode 24 of the second series of the Plastic Crack podcast.
Did you say the Plastic Prat?
That's it.
No. Well, I could have done subliminal. I don't know, Freudian slip and all that. Right. So, how are we, chaps? How is everybody?
Good, Steve. Good. Yourself?
Top.
Right. Some introductions. So, above me, we have the wargaming punching bag, who's blamed for pretty much everything. It's Martin. Let's all blame Martin.
Martin. It is Martin.
That was me.
Martin has been blamed for 4,500 things this weekend. It's some kind of record.
But to be fair, Steve, it was his fault.
Yes, hashtag I blame mine.
Yes, I think it is.
I haven't even been through those hashtags yet. I need to have a look at them and actually work out which ones are my fault. Because I'm sure I'm being blamed for things I don't even collect. I'm sure that there's stuff in there.
See, I don't want to sound like I'm all down with the kids and cool and stuff, but Martin is trending. Is that right? I don't know. I'm just.
Oh, well done, Steve.
Well, by trending you mean is when you say trending you mean 6. I think there was 6. That's trending for wargame.
I thought you were going to say sick man or something. I don't know. Is that?
Oh no. Yeah, no, I did that.
No, that's just being popular. Up there, we have the latest convert to War of the Roses.
Yay!
We have Lord Kenneth of Southampton. Now we did ask the Perrys for comments on what's likely to be one or two purchases coming in the near future, and this was their response.
Oh, shit.
Very good.
Ken, you'll be putting their kids through college at this point.
I think so. It started off as a box, and now I think I'm up to 7 boxes now.
See,
For God's sake, Ken.
I'm going to repeat it.
Yes.
And finally, over there we have Dom.
What's he saying?
Now this is a picture that Benjamin posted in the Facebook group. Dom's mad.
It's true.
Yeah.
But no, an interesting thing. This restaurant has an interesting concept based on Dom's hobbies. You've got 10 minutes to eat 7 courses. And it's to really get into the vibe of painting 1,000 figures a night. So that's Dom's mad.
I like that kind of restaurant, mate. That's my kind of place. That's exactly my sort of thing. Why hasn't everybody painted 1,000 figures tonight? For God's sake, get off your asses! Come on.
Carpal tunnel syndrome.
Yes.
But that's interest at the way. Are we all doing well, gents? All doing well?
Yeah. Very good.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's have a quick butchers at who's wombled across to the stream tonight. So we've got first man in was the friendly Tim Stevens. We've got a special one here for Martin, Mr. 95th. I don't think I've seen them before.
That's Liam. That's my friend Liam.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Mr. He's renamed himself, Mr.
Good on you. Well done,
very well done. Definitely touched a nerve there, Liam. You really did. We've got Nick Games, Tidgit 59, Evil Jim is in the dungeon, Ham and Jam, Lionheart, Louis Baby's in. I heard he's bought 3 more boxes of Prussian Landwehr.
That's what I heard too. Steve.
I heard that as well.
He loves them so much.
Loves them so much.
Every time I look at my Landwehr, I think about Louis and how much he loves those Landwehr.
Every time I get mine out, it's like I have Tourette's and I have to sort of mumble off or something about them, just in honour of doing.
Louis, let us know how the Landwehr getting on. I know you posted pictures, but I know you've got about 400 more boxes to get done as well because you love them so much. Right, we got David, Steve Harbour, Drew, Lazy Pirate Painting, Enemy in Sight, Gary. We got Luke. who's like me, has been very busy with his plastic gunfighters for Dead Man's Hand. We've got Allard, we've got friends of General Haig, Battle Matt. Oh, Matt, how's it going? Travis is in. Hello, crackheads from Travis.
Hello, Travis.
Hello, Travis.
Such a nice way of describing us all.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
We've got Stoic Steve, we've got GP, we've got Rich, we've got Culloden, Niall, Shring7, Benjamin. Benjamin, cracking result last Monday. I know you missed the game to spend the evening with us, so fair play to you, mate. Joshua, we got the War Productions. Hey, Plastic Crack.
Way.
We've got Captain Nash Pirate Adventures. Arr. 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 Dom, we've been mentioned here. Steve, any word on my naps? They are, but I can't repeat them because.
And my badges. So you keep my badges into this, please. Thank you.
No, I think Dom's words about badges and mine towards Napoleonics would probably be the same.
Yeah, we've done it, Steve, haven't we? We've done our challenge. We've moved on. Life is too short, and we've moved on to other things.
Life is too.
Steve's still got 6 to go, and you haven't done a badger.
I've done an otter.
It does raise a good point.
Shut up,
both of you.
Stop hitting us with logic.
Both of you.
Bloody Napoleonic French drummers and white straps and.
You ain't even got a drummer to go, Steve. It's just 6 guys. You could do it. I have faith in you.
I can't do it. I literally cannot bring myself. They are on they're on the shelf of abandoned projects at the moment, and quite frankly, they can stay there and fester for as much as I care. I really don't care. What's French for I don't care?
I don't know. We need Leslie. You can speak French.
I thought you'd have known.
I love French. Yeah.
Right, so that's all the intros out the way. Time for a bit of a catch up. What we've all been up to. Dom, you've got 45 minutes this week. With me, Ken, and Martin are going to cram it into 30 seconds.
Okay, I'll try and speed it up and get it in for 45.
So no, Dom, you go first. What have you been up to, mate?
Yeah, I've gone a bit mad on the old samurai stuff. Actually, is what I've been doing. So I started off with these fellas. These are some monks, warrior monks.
Fucking hell, they're good for 6 mil.
Yeah, still they are. It did my eyesight in, Ken, I have to say, but they're good. They're nice. They're still fists.
That's some cracking zoom you've got on that camera there, Dom.
Yeah. They're still fist today, Dom?
Sorry, say again?
Did you say they're still fist ones, did you?
They're still fist minutes, yeah.
Are they brass rods, or are they plastic still?
They are metal, mate. They are proper metal. I am heavily into metal at the moment.
Proper metal.
Proper metal. So these are metal samurai, also from Steel Fist. So I finished them off because I had to wait for the flag things to arrive. So they arrived, so I did them. So that was fun. And then while I was busy, I thought, well, I'll do a few more. So these are some peasants.
I love the peasants. Yes. I think they're wicked. I just like the idea of peasants going up against. It happen quite a lot, but I think they look wicked. There's so much character to them.
They're brilliant. Yeah. These ones are Perrys, I think. These ones, and then I got this lot, which are the warlord ones. So they're peasants and bandits. So I thought with all that's about 16. So one samurai can cut his way through all of those, I should imagine. But that'd be fun. So that was good. Enjoyed that. And then I thought I really ought to get on some Ashiguru because there's sort of the foot soldiers, aren't they? Yeah. So there's 6 musket ones there, or
things that go bang.
Things that go pop and bang. They were fun. They're Perrys as well, and some longbowmen. Although I have to say, sorry.
I was just going to ask how they scale up with Steel Fist.
They're fine, absolutely fine, mate. It really worked well. My only slight criticism and I listen away, Ken. Don't listen. I'm going to criticise the Perrys here for a second. Is that their longbows are not really like a Japanese longbow? No, they're just like normal bows. And actually, the Japanese longbow. If you look at this guy, they held them very low down on the bow. And they had a lot of bow above, whereas the Perry ones, they're right in the centre. So, excuse me, my phone's going.
That's Michael Perry calling
that's
you.
the Perry thing. What
the fuck you on about, Dom?
This is them calling with. Well, actually, you'll find there's a reference to short bows being used by these, and the samurai themselves.
Probably. I am risking everything by saying that, I have to say, because I don't know enough about the period to know. But every illustration I've seen has had the Japanese longbow, which they.
Do you remember that invitation that we gave you to come down here and play a game? That has been rescinded.
We're fucked now. Cheers, Dom.
Dom
who? Dom who?
Yeah, exactly. I've just been disowned by you lot. And then I bought these are fellas I bought on eBay already painted, cool. And I just tarted them up a bit because they were. Oh,
they're wall. They're the plastics.
They're wall plastics. Yeah, they are.
Yeah. I can reckon because the only thing. Yeah, I really like those figures. The horses are just in a slightly weird.
They are very odd poses. It has to.
Yeah,
be
very one at the front.
The horses look very long.
They look extreme. It's quite cool. Like I like the way that it's actually sticking its head out. But if you look at it too long, it sort of looks a bit like an eel.
And this guy, this one at the back, I don't know what kind of action he's doing. But anyway, whatever. They were very cheap on eBay, so I tarted them up, and they've come out, rebased them, and they've come out right. So that's basically what I've been doing, Steve. Just
Dom, can I ask a question about your samurai? And I know I brought this up last week, but 3 weeks ago, 21 days to be precise, you said you'd never paint 28mm samurai. Fast forward 21 days, and you've painted quite a bit. What's grabbed you about them that's made you do such a 180-degree turn like that?
I think Steve
broke inside.
I think Steve, it's just the fact, conclusive proof that I talk a load of shit. Really. You should never believe a word I say. No, I don't know why. I blame Martin. No, actually, I sat down and blamed Martin. I think after that stream when we were talking about that, and then actually genuinely it was. Now I remember it was genuinely Martin's fault. It was because after the stream had finished, we all sat down, and were chatting away about what had been going on, and then I think you said, Steve, you're thinking about doing a samurai army for.
Erewhon,
Erewhon, and I thought that's a really cool idea. And then Martin went, "Oh, do you realise Steel Fist do metal, lovely samurai?"
Actually, I do.
And then you went on about Titan Forge or whatever they are, the other ones.
Yeah.
And we spent 20 minutes looking at all these wonderful pictures, and by then I'd already spent £100, and it was like, oh fuck's sake! So that it was genuinely, put it up, Steve. Blame a Martin moment.
If anyone wants to join in our after stream conversations where we just spend money.
Yeah.
Look at that last time it was when Harry was on. Bit of a chat afterwards. I was virtually £50 lighter within 5 minutes of just buying a lot of Dead Man's Hand stuff.
It happens.
Dangerous.
It's very dangerous around here. But yeah, so it was genuinely a blame Martin, that one. So and actually, do you know what? Having painted the first couple of Steel Fist minis, I thought they were so much fun. That's why I went in and went a bit crazy. Still no idea what I'm going to do with them, frankly, but they're nice.
Oh. So, Ken, do you want to blame Martin? What have you been up to, mate?
Oh, fucking too right. I want to blame mine. So,
shall I just leave?
Yeah.
No, we need someone to blame.
Yeah, exactly. Who else are we going to blame? So, I've been making these up. I haven't got any picture checks. I'm still painting them. They're literally what I'm painting tonight. I started them today, and I'm about 60% of the way through already. And this is the Mercenaries European Infantry set for the Wars of the Roses. So
very nice.
I'm going Lancastrian, just because it makes sense in our gaming group. So yeah, and apparently I've chosen someone I can be Yorkist and Lancastrian with. So
the first two got their heads got killed, and then the third one turned Yorkist. So you can just swap him round. Yeah, just turn him round to face the other way. And he's got a lovely coat of arms, hasn't he? You've got to paint some fish.
Yeah, I've got to paint some pike. Yeah, I've got
to paint some pike. Free. So you got like the King of England with his like lions. You've got like Clifford, who's got like a big red griffin. You got Warwick with his ridiculous geometric patterns, but the Earl of Northumberland has a blue lion and then 3 pike upright, as in the fish.
Is there a reason for this? Or
no,
maybe I think he likes fish. I don't know.
Don't know.
Just going back to Dom's samurai for a second, Ken.
Did Ken just throw shade at someone for not paying?
Thanks, GP. Very good point.
But I have paid. Yeah, but I have painted 6 mil though. I've done some 6 mil. It's fine.
Very good point. Well done, GP.
Bastards. So that's me.
That's you, Martin. Are you going to blame yourself? Or...
Well, I might as well. Everyone else does. So what have I been doing? I've been doing a few things. Now, when I was loading these pictures on, I believe you were on at the same time, Steve, because I was putting photos on and then I went to go look at them, but I couldn't find them, so they're all out of order.
I noticed that before.
I actually so I've got a few things that are basically 99% done, but because I'm either making videos about them or waiting for someone to turn up, I haven't finished them yet. But I did finish 4 more Cowboys, which that's the outlaw gang, which are just going to be the plastic crack crew.
That's us.
We do. So on the far left we have Dom, the venerable. I was about to say pensioner then, but that's not fair, really, is it?
Now steady.
But we have the venerable Gandalf at the front. I've occasionally have had a cigar, so I've got to be at the front. And then we got the larger of the crew, Steve, with Diction. And then we have Ken, for reasons unknown, has a bag on his head.
Yeah. Something I would do.
Which but he does have a shotgun. So but the cool thing is that those 4 are a completely viable gang, and if you use the Legend of Dead Man's Hand, you can bump them up with some skills and that to increase their point value. So you could, here's a 21-point game is standard with 7 guys, but you could make those 4 guys brilliant, basically.
Okay, question for the audience now, and probably regret saying this, but what skills would you give us all?
Go on, one skill each.
What skill?
And then I've been working, so I picked up that Kings of War thing packet, so I just thought I'd get a couple of them out and just kind of do a couple of test paint schemes just to see what I could come up with while I was waiting for literally other paint to dry. So this is the kind of northern, definitely not the what they call wildlings from Game of Thrones.
Not at all.
Which I quite enjoyed. I like the bone shield. I quite like. I think that's quite funky. And the bone pickaxe. That was a bit of fun. And then I got this guy, which I'm sure is the thing from Jeepers Creepers.
Oh my lord!
Blimey,
so I know. You just got so many weird bits in this set, and they're called Scarecrows. And I was like, okay, I thought he's got to be sort of front and center of a unit. But I just tried to kind of make
something Steve would paint. The sort of things
it does look like
his head.
Oh yeah,
there are turnips and pumpkins. You can have full pumpkin-headed scarecrows wielding massive sickles and scythes. So yeah, it's just a bit different, but it's something to do while I sort of get done with other projects. I've got this Kings of War. I think I'm going to rebase my Empire army onto multi-bases, my old Empire army, is a sort of a side project and get some games in. But I did have a game. And if you're in the group, you'll have seen that we had a bit of a game of Test of Honor. This is samurai stuff, so that was the board. So obviously it's not a massive setup, which is cool. And that's the size of my forces plus an archer that you can't see. And I will leave it up to you guys to try and work out what way this went. Although, like I said in the thing, if you can spot Haley's samurai, you're going to do a much better job than me, because like he's hiding behind. You see her troops in the top right. There's that group of trees. I think you can just see the top of his hat behind the tree. So that's what I've been doing. That's my thing. So,
Martin, just a question about those Kings of War things. Are they all plastic?
Yeah.
What are the sculpts like? Are they nice?
Yes, they are. They're a lot nicer after you undercoat them,
right?
And get a wash them, because initially I thought that they're quite chunky. I don't know how well this is going to come out, but they're quite blocky, right? But once you start putting some paint on them, there's a lot of detail in there to pick out. They're all right. I think the could do with a little bit more variety in the positioning of the arms. Most of the people are either like got their hands up in the air, or they're down here. But then I guess they're obviously they're meant to be in rank, so I guess they're thinking about that. For what I paid, I think they're great. And to be honest, I'm trying to knock them out as a bit of a quick sort of filler. So I think it's
the reason I ask is I've seen they do a whole dwarf army for now. I really want a quick army for everyone. Rather than like a prolonged one, so I've been thinking about. I've worked out you can get from that one box alone. There's like 1,600 points, which is more than enough for a game of everyone. So I'm really quite tempted to pick that up.
They are pretty good. I've painted some of the dwarves before. I painted some for a mate,
right.
And they're just quite. Just sort of. I don't want to. This maybe sounds a bit unfair, but they're no frills dwarves, right? That's all you want. And in fact, this Northern Alliance army that I'm doing can have units of dwarves in them, because it's a dwarf, human, and elf army.
All right.
So I was thinking about doing something with some dwarves, but yeah, I think they've also got chaos dwarves. They've gone that way with centaurs and things like that.
Because I'm thinking I just want a really, really quick army so I can say, yeah, because I've still got that samurai thing in mind, that starter box, but don't know. We've had some comments about our dead man's hand skills. Martin, you would have persuasion.
I like that. I like that. Like a Jedi, what? Like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Whoa.
Yeah.
These are the models you're looking for.
Yeah. I like that. I'll take that.
I'm not quite sure about this one though.
Yeah.
Look at Steve. This is cool, mate.
I'd add 2 words onto that though without swearing. Just to do. Yeah, Ken, here's one for you. Impulsiveness.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a
Or
guy around the
bargaining.
corner.
Can we give him bargaining?
Yeah,
Oh God, yeah. Bartering.
God,
Got one from Benjamin. Is dropping your gun into a bucket of paint a skill in the game? If so, Martin needs it.
yes.
That's fair. That is fair.
You can't go wrong with that now. Dom, here's one for you. Rapid fire.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, I'll take that.
Apparently, I use cod piece instead of guns, and Ken uses brown bags to keep his pistol in.
Oh, mate, you should paint that bag on my head, Brett. You should give me the bag. Here.
I should repaint it brown, shouldn't I?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Martin has a question for you about the Kings of War figures. Is it good for using them in Oathmark?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I'd say so. I mean, I've got the orb, and I use.
Oh yes, you have, haven't you?
Yeah, they're fine.
I think they're just good. I think from what I understand, they're doing better because they're still quite. I mean, a young-ish company, aren't they? So their sculpts are getting better and better. They've just released their take on lizard men, I think, which is they're a lot more dinosaur-like than lizard, like lots of armored scales, and I think they like ride a giant turtle into battle or something like that. So it's. I
would completely agree with Martin's thing on it. They're all those Mantic models are really. They're just basically good, but not sensational models. I mean, they're quite nice. They're quite quick to paint up. They're cheap. Because I think also Jim with the Jim Reaper box sets, he sent me some of the dwarfs. So I've got some of those as well, and they're perfectly nice. They paint up really well. The
best price giant going. For 25 quid, and he's like 18 inches high, and it was something ridiculous. Like I know that I've seen a lot of videos where people put him next to the newer GW ones. And the new GW one is in a cool pose, but costs like 80 quid. And they put him next to it, and he basically looks like the Mantic giant child. He's just like.
I've been trying to find the reason for buying that because I just think it looks so cool. For 20 quid, I thought, geez, that's good.
Well, I've actually had 3 because I was off 3 days last week. I spent most of the time playing video games and watching football, like the bloke I am. But you sniggered them.
It was Martin.
Was it? It wasn't me. I chortled. I don't.
Oh, you chortle. Okay, that's fine then. So I didn't get a lot done, but I did get a bit done. Now the first, ta-da! More oh no, that's the wrong picture.
Oh no!
That's them from last week. Oh, I've uploaded the wrong bloody picture.
Oh no! Here we go. Here we go. He's trying to blag his done something when he's not.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm annoyed at that. Anyway, if you want to go and see them, they're on the Facebook group. Arse. Right. I was doing a bit more kit bashing, and I've worked out that there we go. The plastic head from the US Marine box from Bolt Action works really well.
That looks very cool.
Jesus. Steve, is there anything you wouldn't mind melt into each other? Jesus.
No, because I've used those heads before when I was kit bashing some Volksturm, and I used them and those really old heads from the old British infantry box, because some of them look like they should be like 90 years old. They're really, really, really old looking men. So they do go quite well. But that was just a nice cap. I did some more Lanceneck stuff. Look at that.
Oh, I like
that's so cool. That is cool.
Oh, nice.
That's the hand boosh. Do you know how much I enjoyed painting that? One being listening to Oasis, and 10 being listening to Slayer. Guess where I was at on the enjoyment scale?
I'm gonna say probably over listening to Slayer.
Well, it was at Oasis level. I just didn't enjoy painting it at all. Yeah, did not enjoy it. I'm glad it's over with. It's metal. It's all metal. No, now the plastic Lancenecks, they're so nice to paint. I do like painting them. But this was a metal kit, and yeah, wasn't a happy chap painting those. But that was my output from last week. Some cowboys that you can't see, but I definitely did them. I definitely did. I really did. I did some kit bashing and I finished that thing. And I almost went back to the secret project as well.
Oh, blimey.
But I can't. I won't be finishing it. I'm just bored senseless. I may pick it up again later in the summer, but
oh, you can't do that. You have to fucking tell us what it is.
No, I
I'm
can't.
Not waiting 5 years.
In case I do decide to revisit it, it's just painting Lancenecks and the Cowboys and Bolt Action. These guys don't get a look in because they're so dull to paint. I just don't like painting them.
Oh no, he's teasing us, isn't he?
I know.
Jeez.
Oh, here we go. Have you seen Warlords Game Sale Battle for Berlin set? Doesn't one of us own this, or did I dream that?
I think you dreamt it.
Yeah, I don't own it.
No, I don't own it.
Oh, right. I was convinced. I know I didn't. I'd be a bit worried if I didn't realise that I actually owned it. That'd be on a level of Martin's Carthaginian buying. There we go.
No, I don't think so. They've got extra stuff in it, haven't they? I think they've.
Is it like Gamers Edition or something like that?
Something like that.
Of dice.
Yeah, I saw it on Instagram before I came on before, and it does look. I mean, that box has got to be about 6 foot by 4 foot. You're going to cram a lot of stuff into that. What annoyed me about that was they didn't take the opportunities to. I'm talking about the Stalingrad box, but the thing's the same anyway. They still didn't make any plastic Russians, new ones, without separate arms and weapons, which really annoyed me. Is a recommendation from Drew. Can I suggest a kit bash roulette episode in future? Write a rough list of all spares you have and pull out 4 names of the hat, mash them together, and see what we get.
Oh God.
I think Steve's done that every week, though, isn't he?
Yeah, it's just Steve.
That's just a normal Steve thing, isn't it?
I wouldn't want to have a look through all my spares. I might be there for a couple of weeks.
It's a good thought, but yeah.
I like Martin's idea from last week. Guest roulette. Every 5 minutes we get a new person on.
Yeah, I think we should do that for a thing, because we get a few. We look at like against some people, and then we line them up. We just send them a link, because the problem is we don't know. There's only a few people here whose usernames are actually their name. So it'd be good to just right. So who are you? Who are you? You know, and getting them on 10 minutes, right? Okay, next one. Just have a roll of a dog. It could be quite a laugh.
It'd be quite interesting.
I think it'd be quite fun. Yeah.
And Louis, mate, if you're taking part, we promise not to mention Prussian land there. We really won't mention them.
No, we don't. Never.
I'll tell you one thing I will mention. I don't. I had a bit of inspiration from yourself, Steve, and Martin as well, about kit bashing.
Yeah.
So with these War of Roses stuff, I've used 5 different kits to make up these guys. Right. So this here is going to be my casualty marker for this unit. So I sent Martin a picture of this earlier.
Yeah.
It looks good.
Yeah,
it looks good. Yeah.
So basically, if you wait there, let me just try it. You just stick me as the main picture, Steve, just for a sec. Let me do
that's
that.
me.
How do you select me?
You do this, I'll do it.
You do it, yeah. There we go. Cheers, thank you. So let's try and get that in focus. But if we go around the other side, yes, that is him decapitating him. Quite nicely, and I've made sure to actually get the sword inside the actual neck. So there is actually going to be blood and gore, but I'm going to do this with every unit. So like I'm going to have one of these for every one, and then use a dice built into the base to rotate.
That's a good idea.
But I'm making sure to match it. So this is going to be the one for these Italian mercenaries because that's the uniform, and then it also gives me a chance to paint Yorkists as well, because otherwise I wouldn't really get a chance to paint them. Because obviously I'm going to do the other guy's going to be that, or some of them I'm going to do like I've done this guy here. He's built out of 4 different kits.
Let's get him back. There we go.
Yeah, that's right. So he's built out of 4 different kits. And he's got his arrow in his head. He's had a bad day. So I just thought why not? So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to try it.
What do you think of those kits?
Oh, they're so good.
There's so much stuff on them, isn't there?
There's so much stuff, and they're so good. And I'm like, oh my god, there's so much to actually. There's so many different options. It's like I've used the lances from the 100 Years War set. There's extra pike or a short pike, cut them down. Just so much stuff you can do with it, and it's just great. Really is great. And yeah. Actually, the last time I felt like this, I spent 6 months doing Napoleonics. So I think this could be like the new version of that.
Does anybody else have a feeling that Drew's probably going somewhere about do not throw those bloody spears at me at that moment?
I nearly caved. I watched that battle. I watched his battle report a couple of days ago. The Rorke's Drift one, and then I was searching away on eBay, and then I was like, no, far too much, no. So
it's only a matter of time, Martin. You know it's only.
I know. I just try to put it off until one of my daughters are both a lot older.
I'd love to get someone to commission paint those for me, so I could just play it.
Speaking of spending money, I think we might, well, not all to blame. I think the podcast in general is to blame. There's a question from, is it Tidgit or Tidgit59? Casky lads from PTP, if your good other half plays much as his plays, I want to stop with watching the stream. Every time she sees you lot, it costs him money.
Lucky you. No, my other half does not play in the slightest, and she thinks we're all very weird people.
Yeah, I think my better half would definitely agree with Ken's better half on that weird front.
Yeah, so would mine. So, yeah.
My better half does play, and we played the other day, and now I have to think about force organisation and what she might want to play as well, if those are games that I think she wants to join in with. So, yeah.
Oh, it's a good question. What else do we have here? Here's one about your casualty marker. At least you didn't take an arrow to the knee.
That is coming.
Oh.
I've got some. That's just reminded me. I have some beautiful casualty markers coming. I can this. So someone posted this up in the group, but I'd already seen it, and I don't know if you've seen this, Dom, but in that was it the Army and Navy book thing?
Mhm.
You know, he got this book.
Oh yeah.
Sir John Tiptoft, the Butcher of England, loyal Yorkist from Cambridge, and which I didn't know he was from Cambridge, so now I love him even more. Earl of Worcester, Edward IV's enforcer, and a humanist scholar. So he went. This book is. I've read nearly half of it already, and I've only had it a couple of days.
Did you have to buy more because you were running out when we were playing?
Go away. Go away. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? What models?
No, casualty markers.
She just said, did I have to buy more casualty markers because I was running out when I play her?
Yes.
Oh, that's fighting talk. That fighting talk.
Now my wife has thrown some shade. But yes, this book is very cool. And it actually throws a bit like, because basically he did go around executing quite a lot of Lancastrians in not very nice ways. And then he got famous for executing 20 of Warwick's men in Southampton by impaling them.
I hope you did that on the bar gate, because I've walked under that.
He did it. He did it down by the water. So,
yeah, that's what the bar gate is. The only bit that's standing, the main gate into Southampton, the original that's still there.
Yeah, I won't read out what the actual process of what he did, but it's well documented about what he did to them. So I didn't like him very much. But they're actually saying because he went to Constantinople and he travelled through Wallachia, where Vlad the Impaler was doing stuff, that he was actually a bit confused. But anyway, there's a cool book, but I feel a command base coming on just for him to stand at the back with maybe a few impaled bodies.
I'm so looking forward to command bases. It's unreal. I literally can't wait.
Anybody else intimidated by that? I was thinking about doing Wars of the Roses, but now I hear all this stuff about what's it bases and casualty markers. I'm thinking I'll just go back and keep doing my samurais. It's much safer.
I like it because I think I've been a bit stuck with not getting so much creative. I can't pronounce the word.
Creativity.
I was going to say creativism, but it's not a word. Yeah, creativity. Especially with Napoleonics, you've got your rank guys, and that's it, really, isn't it? You can put a few dead people in it, but you don't really get up close and personal, and it's a bit hard to do that. But with this, you can go, hello. Hello, mate. I'm gonna try. I am gonna I work out how I can do a flying head at some point. It's gonna be done.
Like I said,
I'm gonna try and work it out, but I have been thinking.
It's an era that I want to do. I really am interested in it because in my head I can see muddy bases and just general carnage all over the place.
I spent 33 quid on Tufty. 33 quid.
Steve, you realise that it's well known that one of the major battles of the War of the Roses was fought in a cork field as well. So
awesome.
It's
God,
perfect
yeah.
for you, mate. Perfect.
Cork of the Roses, can't go wrong with that.
Oh, that's a corker. Oh,
I'm here all night, folks. I'm here all night. I was going to say hello to Cavini414 watches my channel. Very, very kind of you. I'm made up with that. That is so nice. Thank you. I'm glad you're catching the podcast. I didn't say it. A big thank you to everyone who's watching this on the replay.
Well done, that man.
Yeah.
Well done,
only 40 minutes in as well.
That's all right, Steve.
40 minutes in already. Jeez.
I know.
Oh, Travis, he comes up with the quality questions, doesn't he? He wants to know my favourite Slayer song and why it's Angel of Death. My favourite Slayer song is Seasons in the Abyss.
That is a cracking song.
Because the intro goes on for about 4 years. And I can play it. So it's one of the rare Slayer songs I can actually play. But Angel of Death, my favourite three are, taking it in a bit of a metal direction here, Seasons in the Abyss, Angel of Death, and then I hate to be all cliche, but Rain in Blood because
it's classic.
It's just good, and the intro makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up anytime I hear it.
See, I like South of Heaven. I think that album is amazing. So I just love playing that album from beginning to end.
Oh, good recommendation from Luke there, Dead Skin Mask.
Can I just comment on something? I've just seen a little comment here. Do I let my wife win? I wish. I don't know if you just heard that. She's kicking off.
He wishes.
Do I let my wife? Do I let the wife win? No, I wish. I wish. I just am really bad at rolling.
I tell you what, I never knew we had so many Slayer fans in the chat. This is awesome.
I don't even know what Slayer is, but there we go.
Shut up, Ken.
Shut up, Ken.
We just turned into Metal Night. What's going on?
That's our week, isn't it? When Ken and Dom go away.
Yeah, that's true.
Cod pieces in metal.
Week after next.
So yeah, Travis. I knew Travis liked Slayer. Desky Mass from Travis and Rain in Blood from Owen, and then from Steve. Yes.
Oh my god.
Brilliant.
What's your favourite Oasis song, though?
What?
The one where it ends.
The one that do you know what? I like so many of their songs if they're on mute. They're fantastic then.
Oh jeez.
But yeah, some quality Slayer chat tonight. I'm really made up of that. That's awesome. so good. And it's on my channel as well. This is brilliant. This is so good. Right. Should we get onto the theme of tonight's episode then?
Yeah.
So, the reason this came to mind was two things. One was Burrows and Badgers. No, hear me out. And also Operation Squad. Now, I got those rules instantaneously. So I downloaded the Kindle version of Burrows and Badgers, and for Operation Squad, I bought it through Wargames Vault, bought the PDF.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me realise that we've moved on so much in the hobby from when I started. Having a rule book straight away, unless you're actually in the shop, wouldn't happen.
No.
So it made me realise how. I mean, I've been in the hobby 30 years now, and things have changed dramatically in those 30 years. But where's it going to be in another 10, 20, 30 years? Given how, technology's moving at a rapid pace. It's being driven by technology. So I thought it'd be a good idea to have a bit of a chat about that. Now, I hate to go all corporate and slideshow presentation. But we've got this.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh my Lord. He's been doing some homework. What's going on?
We're up our game, guys.
I used to be a trainer. I used to be a trainer. What can you do? I'm used to working with PowerPoint here.
Is there going to be a test at the end of this?
No.
Do I have to pay attention? Sure.
Yes. I just wish I had one of those clicker things that I used to use to change the screen when I was walking around the room. It gave me a sense of omnipotent power that I could change the screen just by not looking at it. So what I thought I'd do. But to start off with, let's look at where it all began. So, H.G. Wells and Little Wars. No, that's not Dom.
That's my foot up the top there. I can see it.
This is going to turn into a proper history video. I love it. Go on, Steve. Crack on, mate.
Where do you get those buildings?
That's Wells, isn't it?
Do you know what? After when I found that picture, I was like, H.G. Wells has got better scenery than I've got. I'm so jealous.
Yeah, you got that terrain. That's some badass terrain.
Brilliant time machine.
So I think that's generally considered as sort of the starting point of modern wargaming.
Yeah, 100%.
Playing with toy soldiers on the floor, which I think we've all done. I still do. Get shouted at every now and again. But if you want to put it into a more modern perspective, here we have Grand Moff Tarkin. Peter Cushing. Planning. He's playing Little Wars as well. And again, when you think about that, what's changed for us? I mean, apart from not playing on the floor, and again, he's got better scenery than I've got. So things have moved on since then. So what we're going to do, and what I'm going to do is just talk about a few things on these slides and get your input on things. Okay. So and these aren't in any particular order of relevance or importance. So the first one is ease of access. So social media, YouTube, and websites. So when I first started getting into the hobby, if I wanted to know a rule set was coming out, I bought White Dwarf. There was no YouTube. There was no internet. There was nothing like that. So what have you found over the past sort of since you've been in the hobby? What have you found has been more sort of innovative? I can never say that in having actual access to the rules and to the figures.
The internet.
Yeah, I think definitely the internet's got to be it, hasn't it? Generally, because like you say, you used to have to wait for. I mean, I can remember when you wanted the latest. To know what the latest figures were from minifigs or Hinchcliffe or wherever they were that you had in those days, you'd literally send off a stamped addressed envelope, remember those things, to the manufacturer, and they would send you back their army lists of all the different. So you'd effectively pay to get the list of all the figures that they owned. But I can remember being so excited, and if they were really special, if it was something like Peter Pig or one of the other sort of manufacturers, they'd actually send you a sample back with it, so you get this list which you then spend the next 6 months just pouring through, underlining figures and circling figures, and then realizing you couldn't afford any of them because you didn't have enough.
Did you get to see these figures? Would there be pictures of them?
No, occasionally there'd be the odd, very, very grainy. I mean, these were all photocopied. Well, it wasn't even that, it was Xeroxed in those days, so they were like really bad copies of them. So the only time you saw them was if you went down a club and saw somebody else's figures, or if you went to one of the shows. That was literally, or if you were lucky and there was a stall near, because there used to be a few more stores in those days, so you could at least see a few. But yeah, no, you didn't. I remember there was a place in Windsor near me, around one of the back streets, that used to sell minifigs and Hinchcliffes, and I'd literally go around the back
alley miniatures.
And, it was like this, and I'd go in there and I'd say, oh, can I have a look at, PDs, whatever it was? And they'd bring them out of these cabinets, and I'd look at these little figures, and I'd go, I can't afford that. But that was, that's how it used to work. So, you just never knew.
So, essentially, you could be blind buying an entire army.
Completely, you would. And that's where, actually, funny enough, that was where reputation, I mean, the brand reputation didn't exist in those days, but that made an important thing, because you knew if you bought Hinchcliffe or you bought minifigs, there was a certain, they looked a certain way or a certain standard. So you kind of knew that they'd be all right. But remember, there was probably only a half a dozen blooming manufacturers in those days.
Do you think this is why Airfix was so popular back then? Because they were readily available and easy to get, and everyone could see them.
Cheapness was Airfix. That was really why. Yes, but every toy shop had Airfix, so you could go and pick them up easy. So yeah, definitely that made a huge difference. But I still can remember. In fact, funny enough, I was clearing out an old cupboard in the garage the other day, and I found one of the old army lists. And I wish I kept it. Now, if I realised we were doing it, I would have shown it to you. But literally, it was like two sides of printed, typed, literally the codes, what the unit was, and the price, and that was it. And that's what you had to pick on. It was fantastic.
I remember something very similar with Games Workshop when I first started. See that you'd have the mail order in the back of White Dwarf, but they also used to send out like a 4-page catalogue, and virtually had everything in their catalogue was on these 4 pages. And again, no pictures, no nothing, and it was all just descriptions and codes for the boxes. Ken, with you, how long have you been?
You lot are fucking old.
I was just going to say, because you've been in the hobby, to a shorter degree than us. Have you noticed anything different on the time you've been involved?
Yeah, a little bit, actually, to be fair. I've seen the Games Workshop platform move, so they were very codex heavy, but now they start looking like they want to use an app now instead. So getting your codex digital. I prefer a book. I prefer having that physical book in front of me. I find a PDF a real pain in the ass, but that's just me. I have had dealings with like what you would class like older school style of manufacturing, like ordering. So like the one that you ordered from, Oh fucking hell! What they called the buildings you ordered? That
Hovel.
Hovels like the old school way, and you send them what you want, and they invoice you.
Yeah.
Same with oh Christ, what they called the minis, elite miniatures, is it?
Similar.
They're the same.
Yeah.
Just old school style of things, but then you've got the complete opposite, newer style of stuff, of where you get it printed and sent to you, which is you get it 3D printed and sent. But that's probably the only thing I've really noticed, and quality of figures. So like I've seen like the bolt action stuff, the original bolt action kits, the British kits, and now I'm seeing the newer kits coming out. And they're still all hard plastic. They're just completely different, and they're about 10 years difference. But I still feel like some of the older models, like some of the older Lord of the Ring models, still hold up now. I think they still look really good, and I don't mind playing with them. That's why I bought them all. Because I think personally, I think they've got like a style to them, if that makes sense. They're like, and that I quite like it. But some of the newer stuff I don't think fits very well with certain things. Like I'm not a keen fan on the new orcs from Games Workshop.
Well, that new aesthetic, the new aesthetic.
They moved away from more the cartoony sort of style, to a bit more like you would say serious orc, I guess you would say. But yeah, that's
quality of minis these days, though, is phenomenal.
I was going to say,
quality's amazing,
unbelievable. You just every time you get them, and some of these manufacturers, you just think, "Geez, wow." Some of those steel fist ones that arrived the other day, I thought, "Geez, you look at them, you just wow, this is just so high quality." And like you say, the fact they're now being 3D printed and resin produced and what have you, and virtually made to order now, it's extraordinary.
So with that in mind,
amazing.
With that in mind, imagine if you could see 10, 15 years into the future. Do you think accessibility into the hobby, so knowing what's coming out, being able to get things, virtually, instantaneously, what do you reckon? How is that going to look in the future? Is it going to get even more instantaneous?
It's going to somehow, but I don't know how, because it seems pretty instantaneous. Unless it's same day delivery, you get same day delivery from a big manufacturer. Like you order something from Games Workshop, or you order something from Warlord at 8 o'clock, and it's with you by 12.
Yeah,
that'll be the difference, I think.
Well, I guess the thing it's going to be is home printed, isn't it? If printers are simple enough and easy enough to use, you can see a time where not very long from now, where you order a design, you download it directly onto or they even send it straight to your printer, and it prints out, and there you go. Bosh, you've got it. You don't have to wait at all.
That's just remind me of the next thing. So we've got sort of the two hit things here. We've got the range of figures and a range of rules covering many periods and conflicts. So, Dom, you must have noticed over the past 30, 40 years that the range has just completely, expanded as far as figures and rule sets go.
Oh, geez, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think you can. Again, I think what seems to have changed, which is all for the good, is that you always used to have people who had their specialist interests and these weird nichey periods and what have you. They were always fascinated by, but it was just really hard to get the figures. So people used to spend an awful lot of time just adapting figures or personalizing them in some way, but frankly they didn't really look much like they were supposed to, but they're as good as. And you're right, I mean the ability, you look at our mate, who was from Bloody Miniatures was on, he just fancied doing a range of figures, and just for a few £1,000s he gets a freelance guy to produce a specialist range of exactly what he wants, and bosh, he's got them. The accessibility for this is extraordinary now. Perry's producing all this Paraguay, Third Alliance rules and figures. It's just amazing. So yeah, I mean, you never used to have that. I think you had as many rule sets, definitely, back in the day. I think that hasn't changed. I don't think but I think the availability of very specialist, very niche, and very high quality figures is amazing, in a variety of substances. So it's not just plastic, it's metal, it's resin, God knows what else the next thing will be in terms of what they produce them in. But yeah, it really is I always say it's like a golden age of wargaming, and I honestly believe it is. I just think just the availability, the accessibility, the variety, the quality is extraordinary.
Do you think there's always going to be physical models, though? Do you think it's not going to go to a digital age?
I think that's the beauty of gaming, isn't it? Yeah, otherwise it's not wargaming, is it? No,
it's not miniature wargaming, rather.
Yeah.
No.
It's just total war.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you've got all the other stuff, so but that's what makes it different. That's why I presume we're all in it. Is we love the joy of getting the figures on the table and playing with them and what have you. You still could enjoy playing the games online, definitely. I mean, if nothing else is shown with this lockdown and everything else, people playing via simulator and what have you, it's clearly another option. But, we all rush back to play on the table as soon as we possibly can, don't we?
Yeah. So, Martin, I know me and you, but we both started with fantasy, didn't we?
Yeah.
And so have you noticed that? I know back in those days, the big player was GW and probably still is.
Yeah.
But there's definitely been a good amount of fantasy companies, making like Mantic and the guys that do Oathmark figures. So there are companies out there. So with again, imagine 10, 15, 20 years into the future. What do you reckon that landscape will look like? So someone has their favorite sort of their favorite period or conflict. Do you think that the ranges are just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger?
Yeah, I think the popularity of range agnostic rule sets is increasing now. Obviously, GW have brick and mortar stores, and they want you to go into those brick and mortar stores, which is why I think the home printing thing. I think there'll still be stuff that you can only get in shops because they've got brick and mortar stores. You have product, and in some ways, if you can do everything from home, is that your friendly local gaming stores are going to suffer. So I think there will be. How do we answer that? I think the ranges will increase almost certainly. I mean, there's new stuff coming on the market all the time. And on Kickstarter now, there's loads of people who are 3D printing. People are having to go at sculpting at home using CAD or whatever it is that they're using. And everyone can have a go. So, I think by, in 15 years' time, it's quite hard because in some ways it's like, is there anything that isn't being made at the moment that
exactly? I mean,
made,
are we reaching a point where virtually every genre is covered? Every period's covered. I mean, when the Perrys say that they look at what other companies make and they largely don't make ranges or sort of similar figures to other companies are doing. Is that going to be something that companies are going to do more of moving forward?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because do you know what I think is going to happen? It's like at the moment, you get a box of 40 miniatures, don't you? Yeah? Okay. I think it's going to get to a point where you're going to get a box of 40 miniatures. Every single one of those is going to be different. So you're going to have 40 different heads. You're going to have 80 different arm sets. So you can have a unique miniature with every single one. So you haven't got to share heads. I think it's going to expand like that, if that makes sense. I think you're going to get more variety and more choice.
I see what you're saying, Ken, but I wonder whether it's going to go the other way. I wonder whether you look at things like Wargames Atlantic, and they're producing these big boxes of sort of filler armies, for the want of a better word. Very cheap, very manageable to get a huge number of figures, but there are no commands. So I wonder whether there's going to be kind of a lot of these mass-produced, very cheap army boxes, but also then there's going to be a lot of niche players who come in, like our mate from Bloody Miniatures, producing some very specialist, sort of special characters, maybe a bit more personalised for you.
I think that's a historical thing. Because if anything, GW is still the most popular and biggest wargames manufacturer in the world. And if anything, their kits have become less customizable, more bespoke, much more elaborate, dynamic sculpts. But of course, that means that you sacrifice customization options. So because especially in fantasy and sci-fi, which are still probably the most which are, as we know from the Great Plastic Crack Survey, apart from with our views, and the most popular things is if people want those miniatures that are not doing this.
Yeah.
They're in active poses where they're flying through the air. Whereas, you're not going to have your average Yorkist bowman backflipping off a dead Lancastrian trying to fire his longbow into a passing. I think if you're talking about the historical market, then I think you're right. Maybe we'll see more packs of like literally plastic heads. Like look at all these head sets, which is what Steelfist Miniatures do. They make metal dolly bodies that for Tudor period, which perfectly fit with those Wars of the Roses infantry arms. So you got the Tudor bodies, you just use those arms. So it might be that we see more things like that.
But more personalization.
I think certainly for. And I remember I saw a comment. I saw a comment. I can't remember where it was. I can't remember who put it. It was a few weeks ago, and I don't think we talked about it. And someone said, "Why are the best paint jobs, or why do the best painters, or the majority of the best painters that you see on YouTube or on Facebook, do fantasy?" And it's purely because fantasy models are in these crazy poses with spell effects and leaping about, and they're vampires. I think there's some, there's brilliant historical painters out there that are fantastic. But there's more people into fantasy. Let's face it. So if anything, I think that the fantasy and sci-fi market will become less customization, because everyone wants these characters. I think that's part of the reason they're redoing the sculpts. I mean, this one here of Éomer, the Lord of the Rings, is 100 times better than the other one. The other one's awful.
Do you think, Martin, that's also a large part because of the sort of almost, how do I say this without being offensive to the fantasy guys? It's almost that sort of, they're told how to do things. So the books are, if you play in a GW tournament, you have to use the figures they provide. Mm-hmm. The chapters, as I understand it, the organization is very, this is how it is, and this is how these guys are going to fight, and this is how they're going to do. So there isn't that sort of, you can't personalize units as such anymore, but maybe you want that character and personalization in the figures.
But you're playing in an established setting and universe.
Yeah.
Same as if you were going to play Star Wars, or any of those kind of games. I think there are some options, but people because they've now got 30-40 years worth of lore, they're just as big a fantasy unit. I mean, in some ways more. There's a lot of depth to the 40k, and I think people love that setting. Right. And it's just that there's no other companies have had a chance. I mean, I don't know anything about the Kings of War setting, and I've got a box for it. I couldn't tell you anything about it. Because I'll tell you what, you go to Mantic though, because I've been to Mantic in their shop a couple of years ago, and I'll tell you what, they will literally sit there and talk to you about it and tell you everything about the setting. They really are quite a cool company. Actually meeting them, it was really, really cool.
If you listen to Wargaming with Gary, he was reading some of the on one of his videos. He was reading some of the lore or the storyline for the Mantic universe. It's actually quite cool.
It did seem quite interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. So I hope that they've had time to build it up. Steam, Privateer Press. Iron Kingdom started out as a role-playing game setting, and then it became a war game. So they've slowly built up this. They're getting that setting is pretty popular. Now. That's the thing. But then. I know what you're saying, Dom, about the characters, but then history, you look at like Napoleonics, there's not a lot of room for how you want to paint your models if you want to.
Well, no, it's true. And I think I just saw somebody else said the same thing in the chat, the Baron. Yes. But I also think there is even within that, you've got different campaigns, you've got different, fronts, you've got different, you can get away with a lot in Napoleonics or any historical war period, can't you? By saying, these troops have been at the front for 6 months and they're knackered and blah blah blah. So But I take the point. Yes, exactly. I mean, there's nothing.
It's the same.
History is factual, so it's structured, right?
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same as the 40k stuff. Yeah, so 40k gets around that quite cleverly, right? Because it says there are 10 founding chapters of Space Marines. Yeah, but in the there's a lost chapter. So that lost chapter can be whatever you want it to be. If you want to have bloody pink Space Marines and call them whatever and put your own lore behind it, you can do that.
Right.
So you can paint whatever you like in that regard, and it's pretty much the same with all of it. They don't make you stay. I wouldn't say they make you stay with it. If you for example, right, say I was going to paint Ultramarines, they're the blue guys, yeah.
Yeah,
French.
The French.
Are they the French ones?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, yeah. Here it goes. Click away.
no.
So I was going to say, I always feel like the French and the Napoleonic ranges a bit like the Ultramarines and the Space Marines because they always feel like the French.
You wanted me to, didn't you? I just thought I'd find it.
There you go. Yeah. But say you paint Ultramarines and walk into a GW store and say these are Ultramarines, and I painted them yellow. I wouldn't be able to do that. They wouldn't be Ultramarines. You couldn't call them Ultramarines. It's like the same rules with this, really. If you painted a load of British and painted them blue, you couldn't turn around and say they're British. No.
I think you turn around here. I think Evil Jim has got it quite good here. Hard for someone to look you in the eye and say the colour of those orcs' trousers is wrong.
Yeah.
It definitely happens in historicals.
Yeah.
That's very true. It's very true. Yeah, and I guess it's my innate lack of knowledge in these things. Yeah. I always assume that fantasy WRG stuff is all new stuff, and of course it's been going for bloody years, so it's not anymore. There is all this history associated with it, which I just don't know. So I don't know.
Oh, there's loads. There's probably more lore into that than there is Star Wars now, isn't there?
Yeah, it's. I mean, you've got over 40 years of Rogue Trader history. You've got all the additional books. You've got 30k now. You've got the Horus Heresy series of books. You've got all the additional canon. It's just, it's massive.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, Dom. It's it's set in the 40k universe, but the Heresy stuff set in the 30k universe.
Yeah.
So that's like saying, for example, World War II versus War of Roses, different periods, sort of thing. But thingy, it is fucking in depth when you really do think about it. It's pretty immense.
I mean, even 40k by itself is an immense lore and background when you factor in the work they've put into the 30k universe as well. Because when I first got into 40k years ago with Rogue Trader, there wasn't any mention of the Horus Heresy. It was very much, I don't know. It was it was briefly mentioned. It was but it wasn't until later on they actually turned it into a story that actually built 40k 10,000 years later.
So could somebody else? Here's the thought. So it has been going for a good while, and I kind of always forget it has been. But could somebody else come along and do a similar job, or is
without being sued?
But no different. I mean, because it seems to me that fantasy is
Kings of War. If they go for that
true
time,
but that's usually more a fantasy setting, which is more open. It's harder to because people have tried to sort of almost copyright Lord of the Rings type stuff, and apart from the actual terminology, orcs, you can't what an orc looks like. Anybody can decide, but it's harder to do that with a 40k Space Marine or whatever.
I mean, no one's going to be able to make something that looks like a Space Marine and label it. So I think for sci-fi, you've just got to do something completely different. I mean, to me, probably the property that's doing the best job there would probably be Infinity. Their game is completely different to 40k. It's a much smaller miniature count. The models are all metal. They've stayed metal.
Yeah.
They've branched out. They've got a manga anime aesthetic. They're now releasing comics and books. I know 40k is doing that new channel thing, but they've got 3 editions now, and I think they've been going over 10 years, and they've got quite a developed lore and background now, and because it's not so far in, I think it's like 300 years in the future, so they've now developed that out quite a bit.
I mean,
So I was going
to say, if companies put in the time and the effort, and they build that fan base and they build that reputation, it can happen. I mean, there's certainly scope out there, as Martin says. Corvus Belli, Remake Infinity have certainly demonstrated that.
It just occurs to me that you know, almost we were talking earlier about, you know, how many periods there are in historical gaming, and it's actually really hard to think of many periods that there isn't a range for now. I can feel our Danish friend going on about the Danish Prussian War, and the Austro-Prussian War isn't very well covered. But, you know, apart from the odd they are very niche wars. Sorry, there aren't many out there. So you kind of think, actually, if you were a figure manufacturer now, starting out, say you wanted to start your range, how the hell would you do it? Because pretty much every range out there is covered in some way. So, you know, it's like, where's the originality going to come? So all you can do is around improving the quality of the figures and maybe making it a bit more nichey in terms of, you know, this is Eastern Front, Tuesday night on in 1943 in December. You know, that kind of personalization is the only possible. Whereas fantasy and sci-fi, you've got basically, let's think of look at your turnip stuff and your badges. It's like, think of some weird shit that usually you get locked up for thinking, and you just produce a range for. So it's kind of weird, isn't it? That does worry me a little bit with the future of historical. It's just like, there is so much there now. What's going to get our juices going in the future?
Space Marine mermaids.
Space Marine mermaids. Ken's been doing that shit that I talked about. Bloody hell.
With turnip heads. Okay, the next one. This is one that I think this is going to be. Ken might like this. This is going to be controversial. We know Ken likes a bit of controversy. Rule books. Now we've got physical rule books. We've now got PDF and digital and sort of Kindle formats as well. So will there always be a physical rule book movement? Yes. In the future, will there always be a physical copy of that book?
No.
Sadly, no.
Sadly, not. But
I think books are going out anyway in the next 100 years. I don't think there'll be books. Honestly,
that's a bit rash comment. I
do not think there'll be books in the next 100 years. We will be proper environmental, not destroying the planet with trees and shit.
Are you accusing books of destroying the environment?
Yes, there you go.
Oh my god.
Paper, innit?
It's paper,
but again,
innit,
this reminds me. I mean, apart from the bolt action rule book, all of my bolt action kind of supplemental books and army lists and that, they're all Kindle copies that I have on my tablet. I've also got the rule.
Do that. I don't know how you do that. Honestly, I have no idea how you do that. I'll just know.
No, my mate that I normally play bolt action with, he's the same. He has the physical rule books, and he can't grasp the digital copy or the Kindle copy.
You will never. You need rule books just for that moment when you look up a rule and you know you're right and you can slam it shut.
And for the smell of a new
yes,
rule
I was going to say. That's
the
one thing.
Of a new rule book.
That's one thing you can't. As soon as I got my Dead Man's Hand rule book the other day, I was like that.
I mean, I don't think I've got to say, Ken. Actually, I completely disagree. Look at the number. Like when GW, I'm going to GW's model works. All right, that's what I'm going to talk about because they do. You know, they are a business. Every time they release a rule book now, it comes out in about 6 different versions. There's like a leather bound one that's been like
but they've said they're moving away from rule books.
They'll still, but they will. I guarantee you, they will still produce limited edition, special leather-bound books that probably 10 of them will take out the price. You know. So,
do you honestly think that there'll actually be books in 100 years? You really think there'll still be a physical book?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
I think there'll be books, but in the realm of wargaming, I think the physical rule book will be phased out in the next 20 years. I think everything will be digital. I'm not being George Orwell there about it. I just think.
Can I chuck up Jason's comment?
Yeah.
I think I think I mean, there are companies who it's print on demand, isn't it? You buy it and it's print on demand. But
yeah,
I personally detest going through PDFs. I think that's maybe because I do it a lot in my job. But I like having. I could find a rule quicker in a physical book than I can.
Yeah, me too.
In a
with Kindle, it's easy. There's a search function. Tap it, pop your word in, and all the things come up. I've used that.
But isn't that like all of them? Because I did that the other day, and it is like there are 91 times this wording. Oh, shit. Whereas if you just go to that thing called the index, you can like go shooting.
Which, I mean, given how technologically inept or suspicious I am, I'm actually quite amazed that I've got sort of digital or Kindle rule books. Everything else about me, I'm not a very technologically minded person.
I struggle with them, I have to say. I really do. I don't mind getting them as a digital, but if there's a physical, I mean, I have been known that Second World War rule set you two were going on about. I did get it from Wargames Vault, and I sent it off to get it printed up because I just couldn't handle it as a PDF. So yeah, I have to get it printed out. I think the more interesting bit about the future of rules is more around maybe coming onto this, Steve. Sorry, maybe it's subsection 5 of page 45 of your presentation, but around how rules are going to develop more now. Many again, as the resident old timer here talking about all this stuff. Many years ago, there was a move to have computerized rules. So you put the data into the keyboard, into your laptop or whatever you managed to drag along to the club, and it worked out all the results and told you what was happening. And it worked particularly well on naval games for sort of ranges and that sort of thing. And it was a really big thing for a while. It seems to have died a death. But I do wonder whether there's going to be more sort of interactive type rule systems in some way that work with the physical table. Like so apps. An app, maybe an app could be an app. Yeah. You could have something where some sort of fog of war kind of function within it. I don't know how it'll work. AR maybe, not AR, a virtual reality kind of setup maybe. But I do think that's an area where the rules will develop from the physical paper thing.
So one of the first apps I used was the Privateer Press one for War Machine. Okay, and you could, because in War Machine, Steel know this, I don't know if you guys this, but there's a lot of damage that you need to track on your robots. That because arms get blown off. There's loads of little boxes to fill in, and it's done. And normally it's done on unit cards, and you just chuck it in a sleeve and you mark it off with a dry wipe marker, they produce an app. And the idea was you could link with your opponent and check their list, and you could click on any keyword and it would tell you the rules. And I hated every second of it. Right? Like that. Here's one of the cards, right? So you have all these little dots to fill in. Like your finger's too big, you got to zoom in. It's like, I've selected 2 boxes now. So at that point, it wasn't very intuitive. And I think that app has pretty much died a death now. But I think, as you said, 40k. They're doing one. You said, Ken, didn't you?
Yeah, they're already doing it.
Yeah.
The thing is, we're thinking about our generations. Yeah. Now we're thinking about the kids that are growing up. They're just being born now. Their technology, like compared to what we've got now in 30 years' time, technology is going to be completely different.
You're right.
I generally think there won't be. And the reason I'm thinking it is because you're going to have so many different forms of technology and communication. So, like, it's going to come to a point where we're going to be able to, like, have, say, like an Alexa app device. Yeah. Imagine having an Alexa that knows all your rules. So you can just say, bolt action, movement, shooting, and it will tell you, or it follows your game.
Be a nightmare. You go, Alexa, what's the what?
Well, not even that.
They tell you it's
but you wouldn't have to. Yeah, but you wouldn't have to
tell.
Yeah, but we're thinking about technology now, Dom. But I'm talking like 30 in the future, when the technology will be able to follow the game. Like, look, say for example, it's got a camera. It follows our game that we're playing. I'm going really out here, and it can see what we're doing. Okay. And the AI know, because AI technology now is just getting incredible, knows that we've moved there and I've moved here, and you say just say for example, rule conflict, and it will tell you what's going on. So it will say, right, you're within 6 inches or whatever. It's going to be completely different. It's
right.
Like
they do
guard that far. That move them back. I will say
they're doing stuff in RPG. There are people who do tabletop RPGs where they use touchscreen monitors, and you click on it, and you get like a menu appears around your model and all that. Personally, I think all these things will still be supplemental, because you're getting it to the point where this is obviously me, where it's not a game, a tabletop game anymore.
I was just about to say the same thing. At what point does that picture of Peter Cushing playing with his toy soldiers? At what point is that not us, but in a different setting?
Yeah. Any point where I can understand looking for an app to, like, if you have digital copies of the rules, but if the moment that you're sort of like the Alexa thing, that drive me potty, because you won't ever get that moment where, say, we're playing and you're like, does it do D3 or D6? Bugger it, we'll just say it does D3. We'll look it up at the end of the game. We'll keep it this way for the rest of the game. That'll all go, and it'll just be, and there'll be no form of winging it or doing it on the fly or house ruling. Because what if you want to house rule stuff? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
With my house rules, the rules of the Wars of the Roses, how I'd have to like sync them in somehow. And what I mean is I think that there'll be certain games where that would work, right? But primarily we play this because it's relaxing and it's fun. And the moment that technology becomes into things, it's not relaxing anymore, because technology's horrible.
No. I think for me,
it might be that's for us, isn't it? It might not be for the generations that are being born now. That might be their standard, They might not ever get to play like we played. Imagine that.
And we'll just be, well, you guys, because I won't be here, but you lot will be the crusty old farts in the corner playing some antiquated game of 40k, with your French.
Oh, Grandad, what are you doing? What are these?
Don't worry, Dom. We'll have your head in a jar at the table level. So finally, you'll be able to see things at table level. Like,
can you put me as the voice on the Alexa?
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Like, Ken, you're fucking cheating again. Move those figures back.
Steve, can I ask you a question? When you picked this subject, is this where you saw it going? about what we're going to do with Dom when he's gone, and we're going to stick him in the table.
If I'd have said that half of the discussion would be talking about Dom's head in a glass jar like a Futurama, no, I wouldn't. It wasn't the direction I was hoping. I have to say,
it wasn't what I was expecting on a Monday night. But hey, it's working, Monday nights.
Okay, so that's rule books then. Another controversial one.
Shit.
Here we go. We touched on this briefly before, and somebody mentioned it in the comments. Materials that our figures are made from.
This is one of the main reasons I don't think. Yeah, but this is one of the main reasons I don't think that we're going to have a physical hobby in 100 years, because of the materials. I've really, unless they discover new shit, I just can't see it. Sustainability.
The metal minis we use now are different metal to they were 10 years ago, 15 years, 20 years ago. So they'll probably just use a more environmental.
Metal's going to run out. Metal will run out.
Well, I'm not saying metal, but it could be a plant-based resin or something.
Now that would be exactly, yeah.
So
I'm falling for my own stuff now.
I think we could have all sorts of things like that in the future. You just, I don't know.
But I mean, that's a serious question before. But do you think that plastic figures will be phased out because they're plastic, or?
Yeah.
But does the industry make that big a dent that anybody cares?
You watch. It won't be the industry. It will be legislation that governments won't allow people to make things out of plastic.
And price as well, won't it?
Yeah.
Price things heavily.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
price
very
is
true.
more likely to change things than legislation, I would have thought. So, and
So
ability to get materials, that's the other thing, isn't it?
So is that where 3D printing is going to become more? I don't know. I mean, when 3D printing was first announced, how long ago? What 10 years back? And do you remember how terrible it was? I mean, it was. And now you see the things that are being 3D printed. You think in that short space of time, we've gone from things that look like stickle bricks.
Yeah.
Ken, do you remember stickle bricks?
Yes, mate.
Okay,
just
I've got some. My daughter has them.
Do they still make them?
Yeah.
Oh,
and they still fucking hurt when you tread on them.
When you're treading them. Slight segue, but as someone that A, works from home, and B, wears nothing on my feet ever, I trod on a plastic German bread bag the other day. It was on the floor. I didn't know where it was from. I must have leapt about 3 foot in the air.
Could you have it with a bloody pipe?
I know. Oh God! Do you know when something's like such a shock? You don't like standing on a plug or a piece of Lego.
Oh,
you mean on a? I'm sorry. I've just started thinking he's watched on the bag of Hovis. I don't understand what the problem is. I'm just sat here thinking about it.
Yeah,
because I find bits of bolt action, bits and pieces in those random places. And the last one was sticking out the sole of my foot. But I digress. So with that then, with 3D printing, do you think it'll be? I mean, take it even a step further. Will you be if 3D printing became that popular? Would you be buying physical figures from manufacturers, or would they just send you the file and you print it from home?
You'll get a license, for a certain number of prints, and then your license will just expire, and
they're already doing this, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
they're already doing this.
Yeah.
Some of the figure manufacturers, Fantasy particularly, they do this all the time already. And you buy a license for your personal use, or you buy a license to produce them for other people, commercial. Yeah. I firmly believe that it won't be long before that ability to print at home, but they'll be done in a really easy way. So you go on the Perry website or whatever the equivalent is at the time and just download, I want this, and you'll have it immediately.
Can you imagine though if they get to a point where you could have I want to say a biological figure, right? In regards to you get a man with a spear and a bit like an army man, whatever you want to do with him, you can pose him however you like. So if you want to put him in like a prone position, you can do that. If you want to put him in a kneeling position, you can move him like that, and then you can.
Well, again, you've already got that. That isn't it. What is it? Fireforge, the American company, where you can go online and
Hero Forge.
Just one figure. I mean, just the one figure. So instead of having it in hard plastic, have it in like a material of where it's flexible, where you can move every joint.
Oh, I see. So like an action man
that one figure. If that one figure, if you want him to lie down, you can have him in a lie down pose, and then the next thing he's moving along, you want him in a running pose, you can move it.
Baiting would be a bitch, wouldn't it?
I can see this going to a really dark place about just creating soldiers to fight now on the table for us.
Yeah,
I just thought
toy soldiers all to get it all in one, innit?
I just thought of wargaming meets flubber.
But do you know what I mean? Or like you get a figure and you push a button or something like that, and he goes into a crawling pose.
You guys would be all fine with you'd be able to do real
animated. Imagine if it was animated. You could get him to animate 6 feet. Crawling.
I think someone puts in the comments. I can say something which I think might become a thing. Well, let's tell you is things like some way of doing physical smoke effects or explosions on the table, other than throwing a firecracker on there. But you have a projector of some kind. I don't know how far, but you have something that you have those 3D elements, but holographic. I don't know how far in the future are we talking here.
Probably not that far.
This one's big for me as someone who loves my plastic and kit bashing and all kinds of caboodle like that. bits and pieces on sprues. I'd like to think it's going to stay like that for the foreseeable, but I don't see it. I really don't. I just think the plastics. I don't know. Be interesting to see.
It's a fair point, though, isn't it? Because again, we know from our own experiences, talking with the crew, following this podcast and what have you, and Facebook and what have you. There's a lot of people who just enjoy the model making and the painting, the hobby. So, is there there's always going to be that market of people who just love the making. Of it. So,
and I think unless you're forced to do it, people aren't going to do it. How much stress do people have when they just want to set up a normal printer?
I know.
Like, the printer's run out of paper. I just want to print this PDF. Oh, there's a conflict. I know what I get like. Okay, so I think you can. I can't see that.
Extremely shitty.
I am a delight, and an absolute delight when technology doesn't work. I get very cross.
I do. I go from my printer wouldn't connect to my laptop, and rather than just sit there and think, so Steve, why is this not working? Let's do. I went and just completely the red mist descended, and I started flailing around. That's what technology does to me.
All these people, when I used to go in people's houses for Virgin and swap their boxes around that are in little pieces. You're these people.
That's those two, Ken.
I'm just not much a technology person. Right, I'm going to run through the last two very quickly because we need to get to the news and show some nice pictures. So
Ken's got to go and throw all his books out. So I want to see if.
So the second or the penultimate one is something I think Dom has demonstrated over the past 12 months.
Oh God.
Remote gaming.
Oh, okay.
Is that going to be a thing moving forward where you literally won't have to physically be in the same room, in the same postcode as each other to play a game?
There will be if it's fucking pandemic again.
I think there's a definite we talked about a bit last week with some of the people who maybe have a disability, can't get into the clubs or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, I think what this pandemic has shown is there is a way to do it a different way. But does it replace, for most people, I would say not. And I think
Star Wars hologram shit, then no, innit?
Yeah,
I
still think that physical being in the same room as somebody else and taking the piss out of them, rolling dice opposite each other, that kind of stuff is what we all love in the hobby. And I think it would be difficult, not impossible, because who knows what technology is coming down the track, to see that replaced in some way. Never say never, but I personally no. I don't see it. As Ken says, if this pandemic continues much longer and has God, I hope not, has another flare up again, then maybe we'll be back to doing it again anyway. But I think
it has, like you said, though, it's demonstrated that there are ways around these things when people do want to get a game in. The technology is there, and we've certainly demonstrated that over the past year. But it doesn't replace, like you said, it doesn't replace the atmosphere of having your mates round, physically rolling dice, me swearing at my dice rolls, me replacing my dice, and then me swiping my figures off the table because I just lost again.
I think one of the things it could be interesting, and I think one of the things, there's that fucking annoying TV add-on at the moment about Microsoft, whatever it is, Teams.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole kind of concept of testing out rules and play testing and working with players on adaptations of things. I think that kind of thing could well happen. I mean, what was that rule set you were talking about earlier, Martin, before we started on there? The what was the Roses one?
Oh, Test of Resolve.
Test of Resolve. I mean, that was basically written, as I understand it, and play tested and launched entirely without any physical games. It was all done via Zoom.
That's impressive when you think about it. That's really, really impressive.
Well, from what I understand, they ended up finishing it because of lockdown, because they had the time to sit and do it.
So you could see that happening a bit more. Cool. Rules that you could adapt, and say Ken decides to do his Viking badgers on tour rule set and wants to play test them against people around the world, he can do it that way. I think that would definitely going to happen.
Fucking Viking badgers, Jesus Christ! I don't mind. I don't mind. I'm gonna do some of that. What do you call it? The badgers and all that shit. I think it's quite cool. I will do
badgers and all that shit.
Yeah, badgers.
Badgers.
I think that's what we should call it in future, definitely.
Yeah, badgers and all that. I am going to do it, just not yet. Just busy at the minute with other stuff.
Goes onto the pile, doesn't it? It's just the projects I want to do one day.
Yeah, exactly. And I can't do it at the moment. I've just got too much stuff. It would just be stupid if I bought it because I'd just be buying it for the sake of it, and there'd probably be new models out by the time I buy it anyway.
At the end of the day, we just blame Martin anyway. So
it's all Martin's fault anyway.
Oh yeah, that's fine. That's good.
And the last point I could come up with, and it's one that's probably very dear to all our hearts, is
oh God. I like it.
Oh Jesus.
And it is the community. It's gone from people you game with at your house and your club or your store to knowing people all over the world. I mean, that's definitely going to be a future thing. Community gaming around the world is definitely going to be a thing. And as much as the biggest antisocial git that I am, I definitely, I very much approve of that.
Yes,
I would say technology. That's the one thing that we can thank technology for in this hobby is social media. Is of any form, YouTube or whatever, has connected people who you might. Someone's just written history is Martin's fault. You can connect people who you might be beyond. If some of your friends aren't into historical gaming at all, you haven't got a chance. And now through social media and things like that, you're able to now connect with people who want to do that. And you can organise games and societies and whatever, and hang out with us on a Monday night.
Yes.
Although on the converse, we have to put up with Paul Beckus down in Australia. We would never have had to talk to him before. So.
No.
No, completely agreed. I actually think that's a good indication.
And Travis.
Of the whole...
Don't forget about Travis.
Oh, and Travis.
Travis,
we never have met Travis. Jeez, oh bloody hell. Maybe we would have seen his videos.
No, I can honestly say I've made a lot of friends. I've got friends all over the world now through the hobby. And I think, going back 10, 15 years, even when I started the hobby, I had a very insular gaming group. I gamed with the same 7 or 8 people on a weekly basis. And that's where the discussion, it's insular discussion at the games club. But now it's just like Martin said, social media, regardless of what it is, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you're just getting opinions and views and building relationships. It's not something I ever thought I'd be too down with, but no, definitely agree.
Do you think? Here's the thing. So, do you think the fact that everybody's so much more connected as a community, a wargaming community, that the sort of new periods and trends just fly around much quicker? I mean, I just look at our own community here. I mean, everyone's all gone plastic cowboy crazy. Before that, it was cod pieces alert, and then Napoleonics went mad. Then it was ECW, and it's like just in our own little commune of people, it seems to have gone like this. So it's just going to be the same thing.
Exactly. I mean, one person gets into a game, isn't it good? And then 2 or 3 people buy that system, and then they mention it in the comments. They mention it on the Facebook group, and more people are taking it up.
It's all about the FOMO, fear of missing out.
What?
Oh. I thought that was.
Is that what that means?
Fear of missing out, yeah. You FOMO in.
What?
It's called you FOMO in. You FOMO into something. You have a fear of missing out. So like like with all the Bitcoin craze and all that, people would be called FOMO, fear of missing out on getting in on it, so that people will come in on it.
I thought it sounded like a gangster rap song.
No.
I thought it was food.
No.
Like that.
No, it's fear of missing out.
There's FEMO, which is that modelling clay.
Yeah, but it's one of them, innit? It's like just listening to people's passion about things. It's like hearing Martin. So, mate, you have got to be the most passionate person I know about the Wars of the Roses. and listening to you about it just got me into thinking, yeah, I need to play this game.
Do you mean in the 4.5 hours worth of conversations that we've had in the last week?
Yeah, and yeah, we've had longer conversations about hobby.
But you just like, yeah, I think that does. I get into periods because I hear I hear people talk about it and get excited. I wouldn't have got into the ECW. Well, okay, admittedly, Miller hadn't sent me that big box, but watching Paul and Miller's videos as well, and Dom's, that made me want to get into it. There are periods which I've been interested in, and I've searched for stuff on YouTube, and because you can't find anything, you're just a bit like, oh,
yeah.
Well, I haven't really seen anything about it, so it can't be that popular. I'm interested in it, but I can't find out. I need to see someone be enthusiastic about it. So
yeah.
Well, chaps, let's play a good point to round that up. That was most enlightening. I found that really, really quite interesting.
Very good, Steve.
Yes.
What's he looking at?
He's up to some deep.
Temporary photo.
Yeah.
Should we do the news?
Yeah, if we
Go on,
can.
Breaking news: the world's plastic reserves have all run dry. Rule books are out.
Right, I'm off to listen to the Smiths.
Yeah.
Steve likes Boyzone.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Ken, you'll be hearing from my solicitor in the morning. Have we got any news? I just want to ask that.
Yeah, I picked up a couple of bits.
Okay.
Our friends, the Perrys,
Right,
have gone off on their Paraguayan adventures again. I'm loading more of these figures. I have no idea. I just, I don't know.
Are you intrigued though? Because I am.
I'm not that intrigued actually, Martin. But
You're not?
if you want
I
them,
am.
they've done the rule set. There you go. You can,
Oh, no.
It's a Perry's rule set.
It's a Perry
say
book.
no.
Yeah, well, it's not actually written by the Perrys, but they're selling it. So,
but this is the kind of thing where you would go to you're saying now, I've got notice. You'd go to a convention, you'd see a table, you'd play a game, and you'd walk away with an army in a bag and the rules, and then you'd look the next day, you'd wake up and look at it and go, "How did I end up with you?"
Depends how drunk I was, but yeah, it's true. It's definitely a 6-pinter though for me, that one. Also, Warlords have done more Black Sea stuff. So they've got these Xbecs or whatever they're called, and galleys. So if anybody's playing that still, I enjoyed that system. I must get that back out again and have another play. They seem to have done a whole load more Spqr box sets.
Crikey.
Loads and loads of these coming through. Some Germans. Yeah, loads of Germans.
But isn't it the same for that? Isn't it basically their Hell Caesar stuff they just...
It is pretty much reboxed, I think. I don't
Yeah.
think there's anything that different in them, but they're good value though, I think. I mean, if you're into it, I think they're good value.
I think they're redoing a lot of some of them in their resin as well, aren't they? So
yeah, I think so. That's also good. And then they're claiming is this new or different? I don't know. This was the third wave of
no, that's new. That's new.
So they got skirmishers.
No, it's been released, hasn't it? So they've
now,
actually got it out.
Oh yeah,
now.
because we talked about the ridiculous price of the wagons, didn't we? Yeah, so that's all out. But I think that was pretty much it I saw. Oh, this talk about Blame Martin. This is Blame Carl. He put this up on the Facebook page. Pendragon, 10% sale off their 10mm figures at the moment. If you're interested in 10mm.
I was talking to Mercer about this before. I was on the Pendragon website at lunchtime, and I was looking at 10mm Landsknechts.
Jesus.
Because
We've got 28mm.
I think I have serious problems. 10mm Landsknechts. What? I mean, luckily I showed some restraint and didn't buy them. But no, if you like your 10mm Pendragon, they've revamped the website. There's a 10% discount that they're giving because they're launching your website. Just don't go looking at 10mm Landsknechts. It's not good for your sanity. I wouldn't recommend it.
How big are those cod pieces, I wonder?
Tiny. The world's smallest cod pieces.
Jesus.
Not that I'm an expert or anything.
I'm wondering whether 10mm are easier to paint than 6mm. What do you reckon?
Yes.
Yes.
Straight off the bat.
They've got salary, right?
Well, when I was painting those ACW ones, I could paint a base of 10 in about 40 minutes. Because it was just basic block painting, null oil, and then highlights. Done. Bish bash bosh. But the Pendragon range, they do World War II stuff as well, which I'm
that was what caught my eye, actually, because I'd like to have a go at the O group rules.
Yes,
I think they work quite well at that scale, and you could mix them in with some Victrix plastics. It'd be quite interesting.
Yeah, I just don't want to look at any new ranges because I just
I'm the same.
I don't want to get with it. No. I just blame Martin.
Blame me. It's cool. I'll take it.
It's mine's fault.
So was that for the news? No, nothing. I couldn't find anything. There was nothing.
No,
nothing
I had
really
to look about.
Out.
No, I can see anything. To be honest, I did have a look around.
Maybe next week. Maybe next week's going to be the big week when they announce. I don't know. Okay, that's a quick one. If you got a newsletter to say X has just been released and you would go out and literally sell a kidney to buy it, what would it be?
Yeah.
Multi-part plastic late medieval commanders.
Bloody hell, that's niche.
Yeah. You know what? I've got to agree with Martin on that one.
Victrix have done their multi-part Roman commanders, and they're the only. And why can't anyone else do it for another period? They've got multi-part Roman generals, right?
Yeah.
And why can't we have? Surely molding a knight is easier than a Roman general, in my opinion. Why can't you give me the things that I want just for myself?
This is where you won't. Do you know what? Me and you are gonna have to have conversations, Martin, because we're gonna have to look into getting some commanders done. I think.
I have a lot of information that I might have sent off for already, and just don't look at because of the numbers involved.
I might have to come in with you on that, possibly. Then it makes it half of the problem. Then so
cool. And if we can get these two in, it makes it a quarter of the problem.
Yes, it does. And then
the plastic crack is producing models.
Yeah.
This isn't fair. I just the Water Roses. I like it. Everything else will suffer because I know if I buy boxes of them, because like I said before, in my mind I know what I want mine to look like.
Yeah,
like dark and grubby and thoroughly depressing.
There's a good someone put periplastic winged hussars. Steve, what's it going to take to tip you over the edge?
I don't know, 4-pack of special brew normally.
The problem is we're gonna end up going to bloody. We're all gonna meet up at bloody CrackCon. God knows, you never know. People might bring you a treat, Steve. They might bring you some miniatures for you to walk away with, or beer, yeah,
or cod pieces.
Yeah,
pre-washed, hopefully. Gross. Right, let's have a look at some of the rather fabulous pictures that we've been sent last week.
Please, yeah.
Let's start off with Duncan. I like this. I like this a lot. Well, there's one part that I don't like, but I told him about it. A nice medic diorama using the British and Canadian bits and pieces. I really like that. That's such an action-packed base. He did apologise for the lack of cork. Which, as I said,
yeah,
I was willing to overlook it on this occasion, but yes,
very decent of you, Steve, to allow that to go by just for the once.
I must have been lacking in caffeine that day or something. No, but I think that's brilliant. Do you know what? It's mad. I've not picked up a box of that British infantry yet.
Really?
No.
It's that here. Yeah.
Because I know what will happen is I'll buy a box and I'll think, ooh, I wonder what kits they work with. I know. Let's buy this box and this box. And next thing you know,
I bought a sprue of each from Jim and the box set. So I bought the Paras, the Commonwealth. Yeah. I don't know they work. They all work.
That's what I'll end up doing. And I want to finish before I do anything more bolt action. I want to finish that US Airborne at Bastogne. So up next is Evil Jim. I absolutely love these. These
Yes,
are
I know what these are gonna
absolutely
be.
brilliant.
Is that an album cover?
It should be.
It looks like
should
it
be.
should be, doesn't
That
it?
is that's the Slayer. If Slayer ever do a concept album about Napoleonic Wars, that is the album cover.
Oh God, yes.
Why am I thinking? Why have I seen a Napoleonic skeleton? What's that from? On an album cover, on a Waterloo base.
Oh, you're probably thinking of Eddie from Iron Maiden, the Trooper.
Oh yeah, you're thinking
Yeah.
of Trooper.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
But
thinking.
that just looks so good.
Where are skelly heads from? They're quite cool skelly heads there.
Probably the Games Workshop. You can buy like a box of 800 skulls from them, can't you?
Yeah.
Oh, of course you can, yeah.
In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only skulls.
Skulls for the skull throw!
Now, the next one was sent in by Lee and Jamie at the Battle Bunker HQ. Just look at this for a setup. Look at this. Oh,
Superb.
That is awesome.
See that's see that is what my new house is going to look like in that room. That is what it's going to end up being like. I love the wood finish. I love the glass cases. The only thing I wouldn't have is that wooden bit at the end. They would just be glass cases. But yes,
Is Laura going to let you?
We've had words.
but I mean, let's face it. If you're gonna play a game of anything World War II related, you want it on a surface like that. Just absolutely brilliant.
Awesome, isn't it?
I think it might actually be at Foreground because I know Lee is good friends. Yeah,
I think it is at Foreground.
It is,
He's
yeah.
reopened. Yeah.
But just that's the level to strive for, isn't it? Absolutely brilliant. The next one might be, a more temptation for Martin, because Joshua's been painting some Zulus.
No,
Hey, Zulu!
they're lovely, but move them on.
Very nice.
I just love the basing on that is just so Zulu film, isn't it? Just outside the outside of Rock's Drift. Very, very just top work around, Joshua. Fantastic.
Yeah. Very nice. Very.
Next one is someone will have to tell me what these are because I've got no idea. But I like them. It's Leon.
Austrians.
The Austrians.
Yes,
I didn't.
Austrian Hungarians, I think, aren't they? Yeah, they're Hungarians.
I didn't have a clue. Just too much. I just saw white and
I love Austrians. I do love Austrians, and I do wish I started with Austrians over the French as well now. Because
where's your Austrian army then, Ken? How's that coming along, mate?
they're doing all right. There's a battalion behind me, and there's half a battalion done.
Okay. In the brown bags?
No, not in the brown bags, but but no, I do love Austrians, and they're really cool. They're so simple. Like if you're going to start Napoleonics, the only problem is you've got to do units of 36 if you're going to do basic 24 units because they are large units. But they are really quick once you get that white technique down because it's just literally a case of painting the cuffs and all that jazz a different colour.
Your man at Napoleonic Wargaming Channel's just doing a series on playing the Austrians. So
Yeah.
if you're interested in Austrians, it's worth checking that out.
Yeah.
Well, Leon painted those last week during the podcast. So not only are we providing stimulating gaming chat, but we're also inspirado for getting your Napoleonics done, unless you're me, and then it doesn't happen. Another one, a bit more Return to the Wild West with Mark. Some Dead Man's Hand.
Yes.
Yay.
Oh, that's very cool. He
nice,
looks like
very
he looks just like Ed Harris. I like that.
Yes. Oh,
like-
do you know what I like about it though? I've seen so many people doing these now, and everyone's got different poses. It just demonstrates how versatile that box is.
Yeah.
Just none of mine are like that. And just that guy at the back,
Yeah.
awesome.
That kit is still is currently fast becoming my favourite kit of the last couple of years.
Yeah. I have found out a way, Martin, where you can get your bartender with the shotgun.
Oh, right.
Not with that kit. You'd need a metal kit, but I found like a metal sort of guy. You'd have to chop his head off and just use his torso and put shotgun arms on him.
Yeah.
But there is a way to do it.
I want to try and make a Yul Brynner from Westworld figure.
Oh, nice.
I'm looking for the head and the hat. Going back a bit further in time now. Some 15mm War of the Roses from Steve.
Oh, I see the flags of both at the. But they look lovely.
They are
They
nice.
look really cool. They
Very
are
nice.
really cool.
Even the base, I mean, basing at 15 mil is kind of difficult, but he's nailed that. They look so awesome.
Yeah, no, they are nice.
Oh, can I make a request? Can people stop posting pictures of War of the Roses stuff, please?
Have you watched my video, Steve?
Not yet, no.
Oh, okay.
I know, because I know what will happen. I'll watch it.
And then you'll
And about an hour later, I'll be about £200 lighter. I'm not talking about weight.
I go into it. As I say, you can get an army for, it's like Ken will say, you can get a decent sized army for about 50 quid.
Yeah, it is literally
with loads of kit bashable models.
And don't order anything until you've spoken to us.
Dom, can you yellow card both of them, please? For being
No, I actually fancy you seeing you do it. So no.
Yeah,
no,
I know exactly who you should do as well. I know exactly who you should do because nobody does it. And I think you should do Lord Stanley, who's the one who keeps on flip-flopping between both sides because his livery colours are garish. They're orange and green.
Sounds like I might do him then. Oh, that sounds fantastic.
That sounds
awful.
Some more. I think these are more
insightful. Before we move on, a quick insightful question here from Yorkshire Dragoon, which I think is a fair point here. Quick question: why are so many wargames into loud, shouty, screaming metal music?
I'm not.
Literally, out of that, when I got into the hobby, sort of early to mid 90s, we had a core of about 10 people, and 9 of us listened to metal. 9 of us out of 10. Only one person didn't.
Because
and it's cool.
Most metal band, things like history and war and military conflicts is usually metal bands that pick up and sing about it.
Yes.
That's not why I listen to metal. I listen to metal because it's exciting and I don't want to be sent to sleep.
There is that as well. Don't forget, you boys and girls, listen to Slayer. It's good for your health.
Do you know what? I just thought of the best thing ever. Like, if next time we play a game, Martin, the loser, I'll have to listen to an album of metal, and you have to listen to an Oasis album if you lose. And
I've already listened to an Oasis album.
But constant, like without break.
What do you mean?
Sit there in a room with it on, just
not once in your life.
Nothing else on.
God.
I remember we had a school assembly when they made us listen to Oasis. I'm not even joking. Like when it came out, so what would that be like? 97, 98?
That's tantamount to.
Did you contact Childline or anything?
Cruel and unusual punishment, if you ask me.
No. You see, the thing is out of in my friendship group, my wargaming circle, a couple of like metal. In my friendship group from school, I'm the only one who's into metal, and a couple of the others like classic things like Sabbath and Maiden. Yeah, but that's it. If I try and play them like, oh God, only knows, like a Monomarth or something, they'll just look at me like I'm nuts.
I remember the first time I let my girlfriend listen to Castle Decapitation. She wasn't impressed.
That's such a girlfriend playing song, that is, isn't it? Casual Decapitation.
Yeah.
I'll just leave you this. I took we went to go for a romantic meal when we were dating, and then we went out to see a film. We were gonna go and watch one of the Simon Pegg comedies, but there wasn't anything there, so we went to watch the new Hannibal Lecter film straight after a meal, and that was like our 4th date or something.
She knew you were a keeper then, mate. She knew.
Yeah.
Yes. Someone else to tell me what these are as well, because I've got no idea. These are by Tony.
They are King's German Legion, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. No. They're Hanoverian.
Yeah. Look at the hat.
I put the comment as KGL skirmishers, so I think Martin's got it.
Maybe Martin's right. Sorry.
Yeah, I've painted them.
They're
the ones that defended Lahey-Son.
No, they are.
I might have painted them too, to be fair. Oh well.
No, they are very nice. Again, I like the greens on them as well. Very nice.
Very nice.
And last up, another trip back another mosey on down to the Wild West with Warren and some of my dead man.
I love the colour on those.
Yeah,
the trousers are cool.
Very, very vibrant. I like the chap second from the left.
Oh, King's German Legion were Hanoverian.
They are.
Same for it. No, but I thought they were actually Hanoverian regiment. That's what I meant.
Well, the King's German Legion are just the Hanoverians that fled over to here.
Oh dear.
Oh dearie me. Anyway, we're rapidly approaching 10 o'clock. That's
Bloody
flown, hasn't it?
How come that's
It
gone,
has.
bro? What happened?
I've got no idea. But let's have a recap. One, Ken's dystopian future will contain no books.
Yes.
Don't want to draw any parallels with anything that happened in history, but
No.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, we
And
could
two-
burn them.
Moving on to something a bit more wholesome. Our wonderful audience has a large degree of Slayer fans. That for me that's been the
that's your
That's the
take.
highlight for you.
that's
isn't
the
it?
highlight of the night for me. We've got so many metalheads in the chat. Absolutely fantastic.
Oh, God. I'm still getting over the fact my head's going to be in a jar by the side of the table.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
Dom's going to end up in an episode of Futurama.
I feel like it's something like a Red Dwarf episode gone mad. But there you go.
But there we go. It's 10 o'clock.
Whose week is it next week?
Who's next
It's
week?
you.
Who?
It's Ken.
Oh, can it not be me because I'm on call? Can it be someone else and I'll do the week? Oh no, I can't.
I'm on
Sure.
holiday next week, so I can't do next week. And
So
I'm-
it would be me next week then. Then after that, it would be Steve again.
Yeah,
Okay.
do that.
Yeah.
And then
All right.
I'll do it the week that I come
So
back off holiday.
You're
two-
ruining the order of things.
I apologise. You know what's going to happen if I'm on call? It ain't going to happen, is it?
No.
Actually,
well-
I could just stream it on my channel, but not.
Yeah, we'll just be streaming through your channel. It's fine.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, fine. Leave it. It'll be on my channel then. Yeah, leave it on my channel then. That's
Right.
fine.
Okay.
And what,
Can I just share this? I just want to share this. This is maybe.
And Rose marathon clay blocks.
I love it. You will. It's true.
There will be an audiobook version, of course.
Of course.
yeah. Anyway, thanks for everyone that showed up and participated in some stimulating chat, both hobby and metal related. We'll all be back next week, minus Dom. He's off to a 40k convention.
I am looking forward to it, Steve.
Yeah. Take some photographs with you, mate. It'll be awesome.
I will.
But until then, again, big thanks to everyone. A big thanks to everyone that's watching this on the replay. We do appreciate it. And we shall see you all next week. So, bye.
Bye.
So long. Bye bye.